morning. Welcome to Viewpoint, your program of personalities, politicians, and perspectives. And we have certainly a nice community perspective we're going to discuss here just a little bit later. I have a community perspective as far as kudos are concerned.
Yes.
You know, my neighbor, or our neighbor, Troy Hanger, and I have had conversations about having the best flag displays on the holidays, and Lincoln Avenue versus Peoria Street. Well, Troy Hanger really stepped up and swung a heavy bat yesterday, June 14th Flag Day. And from Clay Street down to Union Street, that place was inundated. And that means all covered up, too.
Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to make sure you knew that. With flags.
It helps me.
And I want to tell you, it was just great. And listen, he dipped into his own pocket, I'm certain, because...
Oh, yeah.
And there were... I didn't count them. I should have counted. But not only flags up and down the sidewalks on both sides of Lincoln Avenue, but in the boulevard, if you please, down the center of the boulevard and around trees in the boulevard. It looked great. So, Troy, there's a big snappy salute to you. And I wish more people, I'd like to make Lincoln a flag city on these holidays. Now, we've got July the 4th coming up here.
Pretty quick.
Yeah, very quickly. What better time for everybody to kind of think about that? Now, you've got a couple weeks here, folks, to get your act together. And not everybody can go out and buy flags. We understand that. But these little sidewalk flags, wouldn't it be neat if everybody would make an extra effort to fly some flags in front of their place on our national holiday, July the 4th? So there's something to think about, ladies and gentlemen. Run right out to your favorite store now and pick up what you can. Why don't you introduce our...
Before they're gone.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got a kudoette in that my next door neighbor had the foresight to get my little sidewalk flags and put them all out for yesterday. My next door neighbor is a peach. He's just a peach. No.
Can I run that by Sapphire?
He's a peach. Aren't you, Bill?
Not really, but
yes,
it's just you see things to do and you do them. That's all there is to it.
Yes, you am. Yes. Well,
why don't you take a minute and do that?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
But I have to start at the very beginning.
If I can add to that, I don't know if you've noticed the window display at the Genealogy Society.
Yeah. How do you spell genealogy?
You need to stop by that. Can't spell it.
Quickly
can't
now.
say it.
Put your EA in
now,
there.
the display of what did you say?
It's across the street from the...
I know.
Historical Society.
A patriotic display.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Very, very.
I'll have to do that.
Yeah.
Well, on a lighter note, since the bulk of us, other than my daughter, are getting a little older rather than a little younger, I'd like to tell you about two people that Bill and I know. Jacob, age 92, and Rebecca, 89, are living in Miami, are all excited about their decision to get married. They go for a stroll to discuss the wedding, and on the way they pass a drugstore. Jacob suggests they go in. Jacob addresses the man behind the counter. Are you the owner? The pharmacist answers, yes. Jacob, we're about to get married. Do you sell heart medication? The pharmacist, of course we do. Jacob, how about medicine for circulation? The pharmacist, all kinds. Jacob, medicine for rheumatism? Pharmacist, definitely. Jacob, how about suppositories? Pharmacist, you bet. Jacob, medicine for memory problems, arthritis, and Alzheimer's? Pharmacist, yes, a large variety. The works. Jacob, what about vitamins, sleeping pills, Geritol? Pharmacist, absolutely. Jacob, everything for heartburn and indigestion? Pharmacist, we do. Jacob, you sell wheelchairs and walkers and canes? Pharmacist, all speeds and sizes. Jacob, adult diapers. Pharmacist, sure. Jacob, we'd like to use this store as our bridal registry.
I love it.
You like that? You like that?
On a lighter note.
I have a granddaughter getting married. I'm going to use that.
I give it to you.
Exactly. Well, we've got, thanks for the levity this morning. We use that, we always use a little of that. Really serious subject about which we want to discuss some things this morning. And we can kind of take a kudo into all those folks who help in that department. So go ahead.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oofta. Habitat for Humanity. And of course, I think we all think back to Jimmy Carter. He's still
involved.
Participating in Habitat. And
slower.
A little slower, yeah. And he goes to the pharmacist too. And it's such a worthwhile thing, but I think so many of us don't really understand how does that person get to have a house, for instance. So we have two fine representatives of Habitat for Humanity for the County of Logan. Cynthia Bowns, or Brown, is she? Whichever you care for. And Toni Reifsteck. And they've been involved since, for how many years?
I don't think I know.
Was that a hard question?
6 or 7.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
And Toni.
Oh.
Since
about
Noah
40.
Since Noah unloaded the ark.
Darn close.
No, probably about 40.
Is that right?
That's something,
Oofta.
yeah.
And now they're working right now. Give us the address, and this is the 21st?
20th.
20th.
This
20th
is the
home.
20th house, and it's at 509 North Madison.
And they're working hard.
They are working
This is the
very
new
hard.
house. It's coming up from the ground up. This is
Yes.
from scratch.
Yes,
This is
well,
not a rehab.
We had groundbreaking quite a while ago, and it took
Yeah,
a
it was
long
cold and
time
wet,
to
too.
dig the hole because it
March.
rained and rained and rained and rained and rained.
Yeah, March was a groundbreaking.
Yeah. And this will be the second weekend,
Third weekend
of working. I missed one in there.
Well, I'd like to go to the genesis of this program here. Let's establish exactly what Habitat for Humanity means, and then more particularly what it means for individuals here in our community. But Habitat is nationwide. That's not peculiar to Logan County.
It's worldwide.
Worldwide. Thank you very much. I did not know that. Didn't realize that. But it does such a... So let's start. Take it, as they say, take it from the top in showbiz.
Well, I'm going to hand that over to Toni. I know the name Millard Fillmore.
Oh, my.
Fuller. I was so close. I think the other was a president a little earlier than that. Who started this? So,
Oh, Holy Friday. That was a long time ago.
1975.
Millard Fillmore?
no. Fuller. Fuller. It
Millard-
was an F, but that was the
Fuller.
wrong letters behind
Oh.
it.
Boy, he was the president of the United States. What year?
It was before my time, Bill.
Yeah. These are not mine.
Mine too.
So,
No,
we're getting
Millard
off
Fuller,
track here.
well, back in 75, he went over to Africa. And the housing there, of course, was mud shacks and cardboard boxes. And he started building block homes for the people there. And in the process of upgrading their living conditions, came to the realization, he and Rosalind, that there's people living in these type of conditions back in the States. We should go home and do this. So he gave away his millions and started the Habitat for Humanity movement in 1976 here in the United States. And it's the theme is No More Shacks.
No more
And
shacks.
that's No More Shacks. And that's
could use
how
all
it
that
all
here.
began.
And it's all volunteer labor.
All volunteer labor.
That's
But
the-
now you do have two gents who are like the foreman. And they're...
On a build, yes.
Yes.
We have to have people who know what they're doing in regards to building and
Right. Being the supervisor.
Right, they're basically the supervisors of a build, and you have to follow all the codes for whatever area. Plus, Habitat has its own codes and requirements on the build. And what I have found interesting in the last 6 or 7 years that I've been on the board is how many people are absolutely aghast at, I don't know why you build these houses and then give them away. And it's not a giveaway. It is not a giveaway. They have a mortgage. They're required to do sweat equity. They've got to partner with us. It's not a giveaway. We were adding onto the warehouse at Habitat here in Lincoln, and I was over at Alexander's, and there was a woman next to me, and she said, there goes some more of my tax money. And I turned to her and I said, no,
not even a
Habitat
dime.
gets no state or federal funds. It's all donations. It's all volunteers. Oh. And she was surprised at that, and I still get those kind of comments.
Well, that's because we live in a Me Too society, and everybody entitlement society. That's exactly correct. And so that kind of went along in her mind and her way of thinking. Well, that's part of the entitlement business. And
it is, and it's not
happily you straighten her out.
It's not that way at all. And when you look at the process of being chosen as a homeowner, we have a single-page application. It'd take you 5 minutes to fill out, and you turn that in. And it's income-based. It's very much need-based, because we may have 3 or 4 people that are making it through the process, and you may be number 4, but your present living situation is so horrendous, you move to number 1.
As long as you're partnering.
As long as you're partnering. And there's what's called sweat equity. You know,
which is really very important.
You've got to, we want to build a different mindset. I don't want you to just, do volunteer hours on your house. I want you to do house number 21 and 22 and 23 and 24 and continue this process and hopefully branch out. There are so many opportunities to volunteer.
Some houses you have taken in the past and rehabbed them.
Yes.
And reworked them.
Yes.
And then we have, like you're doing this year, from the ground up.
Correct.
Brand new. Now, how does one find out about this to make an application?
Well, I'm going to put some of these single-page applications available at their community action right now, but I'm also going to put them at the health department, and I'm going to put them at our warehouse. They're always available, but there's a couple other places in town that they're going to get permission for us to put them out.
Just a quick size. Go ahead.
Don't you suppose there are people who don't know Habitat has this warehouse and what the deal is there?
Definitely, it's like the
That's what I want to make a comment about. There's a lot of, you have this warehouse happily, and there are a lot of people who have things that they have no more use for. They're still very viable, whatever they are, that can be used. Now, Habitat will take donations of that kind.
Oh, absolutely.
But we also sell them, and that's the biggest surprise of all. Oh, I didn't know you sold things.
Yes.
Well, and for those who don't know, the warehouse is right across from the Dairy Queen. And
there's a free bump for the Dairy Queen.
Oh, well, we'll just
send that boy a bill for 50 bucks.
And so if you have, we have everything from paint to screws to doors and windows to light fixtures, toilets, sinks, appliances. You have to go look around because it changes regularly on whatever is donated, and the funds earned at the warehouse go right back into Habitat for Logan County.
Right. It's like a pink shutter for big things.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good analogy. I
like that.
I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah.
That's my smart neighbor.
But you see, that's a moneymaker.
Absolutely.
Don't you think that these people appreciate their house more since they've not only got their money on it, but their work?
Oh, yeah.
You don't appreciate something as much if you're continually just given another one, really.
I think there's a lot of pride in the ownership because it's a first time. It is a first time, and it's mine.
And It's very nice. Certainly not lavish or anything like that, but very basic and very clean and very nice. And to many people, unfortunately, that's a huge step up.
Well, it is. And one of the things that we do is, if you've never been a homeowner, you don't think about, oh my gosh, the water heater went out. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
You know, oh, I broke, the wind caught the front door and broke the screen door off. What do I do? And so talking with them and talking to them about saving, because things go wrong when you're the homeowner and there's no landlord to call.
And we do a lot of mentoring for them. We have workshops. We have a newsletter that I haven't done for a while. But little guidelines, the 4 seasons, what you should do, like cleaning your gutters, disconnect your hose in the wintertime, keep the
furnace filters.
Right.
You know, unfortunately, and it is unfortunate, but a lot of people just don't really understand and never been exposed to the very basics of which you speak right now.
Right.
And so this is an enlightening experience for them. And
sometimes it is for those of us that are enlightening them.
And yeah, well, I'm sure you're right. But you know, a major thing, I stand there and watch on the perimeter when your daughter goes to, and Toni goes to these new openings and so forth, ribbon breaking, so forth. And I look at the children that are involved and who are going to reside in that house, and that alone is reason enough to support this program.
You would be surprised at the level of upgrading for those children in school and their lives and everything. It's a boost for them physically living, but also emotionally and in the community. They are somebody now. They've got a home.
They're in a new environment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and most often they end up with their own space. I have my room and my things. And
my favorite color on the wall.
Yes, and sometimes it's not my favorite, but
yeah, you give them a little latitude, by the way. Now, you just mentioned that when it comes to the final.
Oh, well, we're talking floor coverings and wall coverings and cabinets and siding color. They've got some choices.
They have an input from the beginning because the ground isn't broken, and they choose the floor plan, and it's done with the gentlemen that are going to build it. But
now, do you have like several basic blueprints?
Yes,
I believe we have 3 basics, and that's what you can choose from. And it's working with our 2 builders.
Now, you mentioned a very important thing in this discussion. That is that these homeowners, they end up with a mortgage.
Yes.
Which is very important. So, again, in answer to the lady that you met with the lumber company, this is not a free handout. It's a free hand up for a lot of people. But,
no, it's not. And when you're looking at the selection process, you fill out the 1-page application and you return that to Habitat, and we look at it and make sure you meet the income guidelines. Then I personally send out a letter, and it's, I believe, a 6-page application.
I think it is, right.
Which looks at, what is your income? What debts do you have? Are we talking credit cards and cars and college and whatever it is? And we send out paperwork for background checks, and we get credit checks, because, again, you have to partner with us, and it's, I'm not going to say it's easy, but, we're asking you to just help build your house. But if you can't make your mortgage, we can't build house number 21, because as we put the money out to build the next house, I need these other people to continue to pay their mortgage.
Sure.
Well, and why set somebody up to fail?
Absolutely.
If you can see that they aren't going to be able to fit that in, that's a downer.
Even if we have homeowners that have credit ratings that are so bad it is too risky, we assist them in trying to clean up their credit rating, better understanding budgets, It's not, I'm sorry, you don't qualify, goodbye.
Well,
They're always welcome to our budget counseling seminars that we give.
Yes.
You know, we have a budget here at the station, and to work with that budget, it requires what's known as sponsors. And so at this time, we're going to take a quick break.
Oh, that was cool.
We're going to.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Mr.
Nice segue.
And we're right back live in the studios of WLCN. The program is Viewpoint each Wednesday morning, 7:50, 8:15 to 9 o'clock. I guess this morning here, Cynthia Busby Bowns, who's the daughter of the famous co-host of Viewpoint.
That was a funny one, wasn't
Sorry,
it?
Mom.
You made it funny.
and a great young lady. And Toni Reifsteck, a fixture of
For good.
A wonderful addition to our community when she and Wally came to town. And she's soldiering on now. As Judith says about Buzz, he had different plans.
Yeah.
And Wally, Toni, we really appreciate how many. I used to serve on the school board with Toni many years back, and
Fun.
so we've been at the trough a little while together. So we appreciate you
She's
being
wearing
with us.
her Relay for Life shirt because she's very busy with that this week, aren't you?
Yes, today's a fundraiser all day out of Culver, so I go from here to there. So
Right.
You know a little something about the lady who runs Culver's, do you?
Oh, I can tell you all kinds of good things about her.
We're doing a great job out there,
Bless
by the
her
way.
heart.
Yeah,
Yes. Well, Judith Kay, we started on our break line. We were talking about talking with the prospective homeowners about budgets and the importance of budgeting their monies. So let's address that question right now.
Well, we have a form that we give all. In fact, I send it out once a year to all the homeowners, even if they don't come to one of the budgeting sessions, that it's good for every family. I don't care if it's you be the richest person in town or the one that's barely scraping by, if they are, to reevaluate your income and what's going out where. And by writing it down, you can see that, oh, we had pizza too many times this week, or the snacks on the potato chips and that kind of stuff has to be cut back.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, we talk to the whole family. Now, in the big session that we have, Donna Boyd has been a great asset. She comes in and helps us talk with the new homeowners and anybody else that wants to come, and gives guidelines on what really you should be looking at to keep your budget intact with your income. And also put aside savings. We teach them how to save. Part of their payment is its mortgage, insurance, taxes, and an escrow account, which is their savings account through Habitat. Mm-hmm. And they can tap into this after they get their home for some big items, like she mentioned the storm door that goes off the hinge, or some kid kind of pushes the other kid through a wall and they have to fix that. But so we teach them every little aspect of, but we bring the children in.
Yeah, I like that aspect.
Right.
Talk a little bit about the kinds of things you share with the children.
Well, we sit around. I sat around, and the last time I did this, Karen was with me, but talking about, you can't have designer jeans and you can't have those $69 blouses and skirts and boots when you can get them for quite a little bit less. You've got to stay within the family budget too. Now, if you have babysitting jobs or you have a lemonade stand or something and want to get something like a bicycle that's not in the budget, yes, we encourage that.
Sure.
But we teach them to save too, so that they're a part of the family.
For that to become a lifelong thing,
Right.
is a healthy.
It is. And it's like if mom and dad fail to make the payments, they lose the home, you lose the home.
Yeah.
So
everybody's
it's a,
involved.
Yeah, it's a family job.
Either y'all win or y'all
Unfortunately, I suspect, and correct me, hopefully, that I'm wrong about this, that many of them are single-parent homes.
I think about
Am I-
50-50.
Yeah, it's about an even split.
Well, then that's not as bad as I thought, seriously. So, yeah.
I do have to lift this up. We have 2 homes that the families have had to leave the community, and so they had to turn their homes in.
Oh.
And so they're owned by someone else. But we have had 2 families in the last 6 months who have made their final mortgage payment, and the home is theirs.
Oh,
So it's
what a great feeling that has to be.
it is, and we don't publicly announce this unless they allow it, and lift it up in the newspapers, and
Yeah.
their friends are wanting it splashed all over the world, but
it's happy
So
for them, and
hopefully-
it's happy for you
Right.
to see them succeed.
right.
Hopefully they will use that mortgage payment, which is no longer necessary, as a set aside rather than just, well, we've got another $50 to spend or so, whatever it is.
Right, and that's what we teach them too. Now the escrow fund is yours, so you have to keep continuing to do this. But this is also, I talked to them about retirement plans and those little things that you're going to need when you get my age that you didn't think about when they were their age, her age.
Well, and we also talk about wills.
Yes,
That you got to have a plan B.
Yes.
You know, children are not a requirement to get a Habitat home, but so often there are children within the family.
Sure.
And, you know, God forbid that something bad happens. What is the plan for your... Oh, I never thought about that.
right, and if
Well,
you
there's
are
the
a
answer.
single,
They never thought about it. You see.
Yeah.
yeah, it's true.
There's so much that is so foreign to our homeowners. You know,
Well, to all of us.
to all of us,
Whether
yeah.
we're a homeowner for you or for the bank.
Yeah.
But some folks find it so difficult day to day that their whole day is involved with
Right.
just getting by, so to speak, and
Absolutely.
moving on to Thursday, and see what Thursday brings, and they don't have a chance to.
And it's
Look
hard.
ahead.
It's hard to look ahead when you're drowning today. You know, there's no way I can do a home. I haven't got that kind of money. I don't have that kind of time. And you work with them, and you try to change that mindset. Because if you think about this, if I have somebody living in a dilapidated rental property here in Logan County, and I can move them to a home, they become part of the tax base, they become a member of the community, they're not struggling like they were.
And it removes some health issues that many of the rentals are a real health concern, especially with young family members. So, so that it just kind of fills in all the way around too.
Well, you're volunteers. Let's address the volunteer aspect of this. Those houses just don't come up out of there magically. There's a lot of muscle involved, a lot of sweat and tears involved in that. So let's address some of the numbers of volunteers you have. To start with, you when you're constructing on any job, you have somebody who's professional in their background, so they know exactly what we're doing here on whether it's a rehab house or a new house. You have on-site
Yes.
professionals.
Yes, and we typically work, and what we're doing on this house is we work Fridays and Saturdays, weather permitting, from 8 in the morning to usually like 3 in the afternoon. It's my understanding that Saturday, Mom and I were out of state, was so miserable.
Yeah, they quit right after they ate lunch.
Yeah.
They
Yes,
they
yes,
ate
it
lunch and called it a day because it was just too awful.
And I'm going to interject here. It's great to have people that know the jobs that they're doing, but it's really great if there's people that will volunteer to bring food for 10:30
Yes.
Now, there's
break
another
or
point.
lunch.
It's very important.
Oh, it is, because number one, they take time to stop and visit among themselves and get acquainted with the volunteers, but you just can't work if you are gnawing at the bones.
Well, yeah. Yeah, and you know, if I had painted for Habitat, but that ship has sailed now. I'm a one-arm paper hanger. And so I can bring a meal. I can bring some tea and crumpets for the morning and the afternoon, and that's a necessary part.
It is very,
So
very.
if you feel that you want to contribute in that way, there's a need for that.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I always tout that you don't have to be able to swing a hammer or run a saw. Can you make cookies and brownies? Can you make something for, you know, 10 volunteers for lunch.
Well, it doesn't take much brains to stuff insulation, but that's a job I don't want to do anymore.
Yeah.
That's the itchy job.
That's an itchy job.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't volunteer for that day, but one day.
I've done that. Oh, that is nasty.
The completion time on a house that you just started here, this fall?
No, this spring.
This summer, late summer?
Late summer, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Weather.
A lot of it's the weather.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we had the groundbreaking, but we couldn't dig a hole for a long time.
Oh, that was wet. Yeah,
it was we needed it. I mean, it was good to get it, but it put us behind.
Ladies, have you had any unusual experience as this process is going on down through the years?
Oh, each house has a story.
I bet.
Each house has a story. And it's all climaxed with that handing of the keys and telling them it's theirs to move into. The excitement, I mean, I get emotional on that.
Oh, sure.
Well, I understand that.
Well, what's fun is as you build this house and, in the morning and the afternoon you have a break and you eat together and you talk and you get to know them not as somebody who filled out an application but as people with a real story. And the look in their eyes, I'm with Toni, the look in their eyes when you hand them those keys and say, it's yours. It's yours. And how they feel, and how oftentimes there's tears of joy, and there's hugs, and it's amazing from the littlest kids through to the grandparents, because it's not just your homeowner. They have friends and family.
Oh, sure.
And co-workers.
That becomes such a part of this, and it becomes another family. It's amazing.
And we always involve the mayor and the aldermen and their own church family as part of the dedication and also the groundbreaking, so that it becomes not only a family unit but a community unit. Mm-hmm. So they are, everybody's aware that now they've become a taxpayer, but they're also another family that is
upwardly mobile.
Well, having these 2 mortgages recently paid off, that's good PR, even if you don't use the names. If you can just kind of block out the names and mention the fact that Habitat recipients have been successful. And that's a big deal. That's really a very big deal. It is,
and we work with them because, realistically, when you're working with people, sometimes we don't get it right. And there have been homeowners that have struggled. Mm-hmm. And
that's inevitable that you're not going to get every home right.
If they don't struggle, we didn't pick the right family.
Yeah.
So it's working with them on, okay, we got to redo the budget because this isn't working. Where are we going to go from here? And you want them to succeed because the alternative is unthinkable. Yep. And that's called foreclosure, because we carry the mortgage. Mm-hmm. And I need you to keep paying so we can keep building and providing homes for other homeowners, other families, other people.
You have people who have seen fit to gift a lot to you.
Or a house.
To build on.
Yes, lots, homes.
Yeah, we have some homes that we possibly will be rehabbing shortly.
And
that's a great thing because it's a write-off for the giver.
Well, and I know some people have said, why don't you just build a home rather than waiting to get a family and build a home? Well, okay, great. I build a home that's 3 bedrooms, and you have 5 children. Well, we don't have anything for you, so you got to go way down the list, even if your present situation's horrible. We get a family, then we build a home, because we know, and there's not the waste, and we're very small. I mean, we're not the Springfields and Bloomingtons. Mm-hmm. We have no paid staff. Right. Mm-hmm. Everything we do is volunteer.
Some affiliates do 4 houses, even 5 houses a year.
Wow.
And our goal is 3 houses every 2 years. So that's a 1.5 a year, or 2 1 year and 1 the next or something.
Now, in the event of a foreclosure, a family just goes belly up for whatever reason, sad situation, but now what happens to that house? Then you put it back in circulation again for it.
Right.
Take somebody who was on the list that didn't get selected before.
Yeah, that's happened once with the Lincoln affiliate. That a family had to be taken out of the program, and it was regifted to another family.
Yeah. That's inevitable. You know, you can't be successful every doggone house.
Yeah, the rate is higher nationwide on that. And we talked about in the beginning that Habitat is not just statewide, it's international. Every time we build a home, a percentage of our tithe that we give to international builds a home in a third world country. So
that's interesting.
So every time we build a home here and finish it, we have also helped build a home, which of course doesn't cost to the degree that it does here.
Yeah,
You're
right.
talking
Right. Not much building code in the middle of some of these countries.
Well, and it's in a country where you don't have to have air conditioning, or you don't have to have the perks that the government requires here.
You mentioned that you had 2 families who'd moved for a better life, I'm sure. Now that home reverts then to Habitat?
We have what's called first right of refusal.
Oh, okay.
Now, how does that work?
Well,
I read the book, but that's all I remember.
well, that means that they tell us that their company has moved and they're going to go with the company. And so first right means that Habitat can have the home back, and we give them the equity that's left in it, plus their
savings
that they have.
Their escrow account.
Right, and then we give them a choice of, if we don't want it, then they can sell it or put it on the market. And they did sell the home, and so another family now is living in it, keeping it very nice. But and the other one right now, I can't think how that came about. I'm trying to think what the house was, but I know we had 2 that...
On a given work
no, they
day.
paid it off. They paid off their mortgage ahead of time.
I see.
They got...
Okay.
That was it.
So there were no losers there.
There were no losers there. They have the home, and they only had a year or 2 left, and they wanted to pay it off, and it's what happened. So.
Now, in this world the way it is today, we know that there are some ladies who are also gifted as far as being mechanically able is concerned. You'd be very happy to have lady volunteers come out and help in the construction.
Anybody can volunteer over the age of 16.
I'll have to clean up their language a little bit, but that'll work. No, seriously.
Everything from pushing a broom to... We do not do volunteers on the roof anymore. The roofing is done professionally. We used to do it, but that's got to be a little bit much for...
I've fallen off a roof. That's a dicey thing.
Well, that is a very important job, and what happens under a roof, if you don't get it on right, you have more problems than you want to address. And, and you don't, like we say, we don't want to set the family up to fail. And a poor roof means, oh my goodness gracious, you got other problems. So we don't do roofing anymore.
How many volunteers will show up on a given work day?
Well, I know
half dozen or so?
Well, when I was there, it was a week ago Saturday, there was 10 of us.
There was 10 last week when I fed them. So, yeah.
So it depends.
Depends on the job too. Sometimes there's people that just can't do sheetrock and that kind of heavy stuff, and then there'll be other times when we got more people than we can fit into a room. So
yeah.
But we always have something they can do.
Well, they can have lunch.
Well, and what we're trying to do with this build and hopefully subsequent builds is keep our website up so you can look on there and say, oh, Saturday they're painting or hanging sheetrock or wiring or whatever, and you could say, oh, I can do that or I can't do that. So you have if you want to come and build, you have a better idea because you know what your forte is and what you're capable of doing.
I know some churches have made this Habitat a project for volunteering.
Right.
And that works out very nicely. They can beat them to death from the pulpit and shame them to get... No, seriously. For the Episcopal Church, as small as we are, particularly this one up in Atlanta, which is now 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. Gosh, time's gone. Anyway, that was a good thing for our church. And it's a good thing for any church in the community to kind of get together and let's take this house on and help them get that done.
We have several churches that are signing on for our workday, like the Presbyterian Church has signed on for workday in July, and we have 3 churches that are Ginger's getting people from her church to do lunches. The Episcopal Church has signed on got a sign-up sheet for people to call in for lunches, and so they do get involved that way, and they're always, we welcome anybody else too, because that is a...
with open arms, I bet.
With open arms, yes. And coffee pot or iced tea in hand.
Whatever, yeah.
Well, we appreciate Toni Reifsteck and Cince Busby Bowns being with us this morning. They are the movers and the shakers. Other people who do help as well.
Oh, yeah.
Cince is president of, what is the title? President of the local chapter
King.
of Habitat for Humanity. She wields a big stick and also a strong hammer. Toni got it over. She labors in the trenches. So many good things around the community.
Well, it's family support is my title. So
family support.
Family support.
That's great.
And I'm family selection.
And she's family selection.
That's why you said that you'd like to do a cookbook for the homeowners of easy, inexpensive, nutritional meals.
That's
good plan.
Yeah,
that's a good plan. See if
we're
we can
thinking
get that
out
on
of
the
the box
drawing
again.
board.
Yes.
Well, we always try to close with a quote that's analogous to the subject matter of the day. And Billy printed one out, walked off, left it on his desk. So Mr. Rice stepped up to the front and got a Jimmy Carter quote for me. And Jimmy said, among many other things about Habitat, Habitat gives us an opportunity, which is very difficult to find, to reach out and work side by side with those who never have had a decent home, but work with them on a completely equal basis. It's not a big shot, little shot relationship. It's a sense of equality. And that about sums up Habitat for Humanity. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.